And so you're almost never going to get the truth from the politicians. There are exceptions, but I don't know any today that I would expect they would tell the truth. And so you've got to filter through the economic types to come to conclusions. And quite frankly, I am usually predicting things that only 2% of all the economists and analysts and newsletter writers and commentators are talking about. And I'm right 98% of the time. So don't follow the herd. It's the worst place to be.
Mr. Chapman, I've asked Drew not to tell you my duty station. However, I am in personal contact with 3 other high-ranking Marines who also have a small detachment of Marines with them. And we've listened to your show through Blog Talk Radio and Wind Talkers here in Europe, off the European phone bridge that's set up. We would like to know, is it a wise situation for us as a station here in the European theater to take time out to run over to Switzerland and open up a personal bank account and start putting money in that particular account? And do you see any problems with that as being military men? We're military men, and all of us are enlisted.
Well, first of all, the Swiss won't open an account for you because you're an American. Our government has seen to that because they don't want Americans having accounts in other countries if they can help it. So with that said, you go to, let's say you live in Frankfurt, where I used to work. I was in the R.J. Farben building there. And you have an account at Dresdner or Deutsche Bank or whatever. And you walk in and say, can you open an account for me in Swiss francs? Or can you open an account for me where I can buy gold? That's an easier way to do it. Now, I don't know whether they do that or not. If you're in Austria, I know they do it. The Austrians are more gold-oriented. So if your bank in Frankfurt, let's say that's where you are, says, oh, we don't do that stuff. So you say to them, well, who does? Oh, you got to get down to Vienna and to go see bank such and such. And so you get in the car and you take the Autobahn and you go down to Vienna and say, here I am. I want to open an account, and I want it to be in Swiss francs. I want to open another account, and I want to buy gold in it. And they'll say, that's terrific. And you just give them your credentials. And if you have a passport, you should take it with you as well. And actually, you should call ahead of time and find out what you need to bring with you instead of making about an 8-hour trip. How's that? Pretty good?
No, that's pretty good because he came back and he said, fantastic. one of my cohorts is in Vienna.
Well, there you go. And if it doesn't happen for you in Stuttgart or Würzburg or any of the other towns that you might be in, then you can call your friend over there in Vienna and say, hey, can you find out for me what I got to do to open up an account to do this, that, and the other thing? And he'll do that for you.
He comes back and thank you. I appreciate that. He says he gave me permission to advise you via a personal email that to let you know who he is and who they are and what it's all about, just to let you know that he appreciates your advice. It's right on. It's spot on. And that he's just helped a minimum of 35 Marines to protect their assets, and all of them are true blue patriots loving America and the Constitution, and pray for you on a daily basis.
Well, I thank you very much, gentlemen, and if there's any ladies involved as well. And I personally really appreciate what you do for America, and not many people would do that. And my hat goes off to you. And I'm too old to do it anymore.
I'm getting some questions here in off color and hard to find. let's see, ask Mr. Chapman, couldn't they just revert back to their own currencies when the euro falls?
Yeah, I think the nations have to. And that's not difficult. They'll get together if in fact it happens, and I think there's a good chance that it will. And they'll all talk about what they're going to do and who owes who what. And they'll sort it out very quickly, and then you'll have a Deutschmark and a French franc and a Spanish peseta and lira in Italy and so on and so forth. It's not going to be a difficult transition.
Those of you in the Marine Corps chat room, if you could, please change your colors to either red or dark green. I can barely make up those funky little colors of off teal or whatever. In the Blog Talk chat room, to make your text larger, all you have to do is just click on the T, and when you click on the T button there, just go over just the number. Just change that number to a higher, from like 12 running up to 16. Consider from Texas, considering the economic situation, what is a good professional field for young people to get into?
Gee, that's tough. I know so many people who are so qualified, and it's not only in America but in Europe too. I just talked to somebody the other day in Wiesbaden, where I used to live at one time, lovely town, and he was unemployed for a year and a half. And this is a real professional in his field, which was basically journalism. And finally he got a job making almost as much money as he did before. But it's very difficult. And the same thing is true in America. The market for people is flooded with very qualified people. And job opening, you could have as many, in a white-collar job now, you could have as many as 500 or 1,000 people apply for the job. If it was the secretary, you might have 5,000 apply. It's incredible. Unemployment is 22 and 5/8%. It could get down to 22, 21 over the next couple of years, but it's not going to get appreciably better because the money is not being spent in the right places. The money's there to bail out the banks and their favorites. And that's not right, but that's the way it's being done. The financial field is always good because there's always something happening. The financial field, as an accountant, a CPA, an analyst, an auditor, a stockbroker, commodity broker, banking, it's okay as well, but they don't pay nearly as much as other kinds of jobs. Banks have always been bad payers, whether you're in Paris or Frankfurt or New York. The wages are never high.
How about the educational field of education itself, and how about food processing or cooking? A chef.
Well, in cooking, one of the problems you have in the United States, and I'm assuming that's where you're going to end up, is they have 30 million illegal aliens in the United States. And because they're illegal, restaurants and caterers tend to hire them because they'll work for $25,000 a year instead of $75,000. So it's hard to get a job there and get paid a decent wage. How do I know? My son-in-law is an Italian cook. He's wonderful. Had to give it up. They hired other people who are good people, but they're illegal, and they can pay them less. And so that's hard. What was the other field besides cooking? Oh, education.
Education.
My daughter is a teacher, teaches the fourth grade, and she's been a teacher for about 7 years. She makes $30,000 a year. And that's not right, but that's what she makes. She gets 3 degrees. And you have to love it. It's hard to get a job because they're laying teachers off. And you have to expect that that's where you're going to start. If you get lucky and go to New York or California, where they might start you at $35,000 or $40,000 a year, then that's different. But if you go to Red Elk, Oklahoma, you're going to get $30,000 just like you would in Orlando. So, you got to think about the money involved too. But, today getting a job is not easy, so you're lucky when you get one too. It was like that when I grew up in the 40s and in the 50s. I mean, you had to be connected to get a job, and you took anything you could get. So maybe you got to come back and look. Have somebody look for you before you muster out. Start thinking ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Have your relatives,
One last question before we.
Okay.
Yeah. Just for that, we're caught for time, and I got one last question that seems to be important from Betty in California. She says, Mr. Chapman, I'm sending my children off to our parents in Oklahoma. Things here in San Diego are getting bad. It's just downright getting worse to live in this area. Traffic is getting bad. Rape is up. Molestation. Children are being abducted off the streets, and yet nobody is reporting it in any newspapers. Just very rarely you hear something. And a lot of the illegal immigrants are the worst part because they're getting abducted and nobody's reporting their death or missing. They're just missing, not knowing what's happened to them. Because of this, Mr. Chapman, what can I do, being the wife of an officer in the United States Marine Corps, to protect what we have as parents here? And is Oklahoma a good place to send my children?
Well, I think it is. The only thing is that children need their parents. And you're probably better off toughing it out in the San Diego area. Things are going to get progressively worse everywhere. And get a permit to carry. If you don't know how to shoot, I'm sure there's plenty of people around that can teach you. But I assume that you do know how to shoot. So living in California, you can't get a permit. I forgot. Well, anyway, you're just going to have to live with it. Because the kids need their mommy and daddy.
There are exceptions, Mr. Chapman, and I'm one of the exceptions. I have a concealed permit.
Oh, good. Well, then just be with the kids all the time. They're going to play soccer, you go to the game.
How about golf? Are you going to go play some golf with your kids? We're wrapping this show up, so it's now time for the golf question. Did you and your wife play golf?
Well, Coronado's got a good course. I played it many times. And, I used to play with Navy SEALs down there. I think it was SEAL Team 7. And that was early 90s.
That's a good group of guys, Mr. Chapman. I've worked with them. They're really a good group of guys. You're going to be back with us next week. We're going to do a live show.
Well, I'll be here with bells on.
Amen. And our respect out to Judy, and we hope that she'll shoot a hole-in-one this weekend. Tell her we're praying for it.
Jeez, I dreamed of that the other night.
All right.
Anyway, there's a Caddies tournament this weekend, and we're playing with the Caddies, and we're all excited, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
Great. Thank you, sir. Until next week, God bless. Be well. Ladies and gentlemen.
For you all, too. Bye-bye.